The college football experience, week 5 DFS and underdog picks on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Football experience, week 5 DFS and underdog fantasy picks. We are live, youtube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. We got games on game on Thursday, games on Friday, games on Saturday. 2 lineups on Saturday we're going to hit you with. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swig at Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. I would have killed a normal man, but... no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Yes! Toby, you got a good camera. What do you mean, now? Do I? Computer sounds like it's about to blow up before I went live. You mean the other episode? The other episode. Yesterday, maybe in the studio, perhaps? I am joined by my co-host. He is the DFS god. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lot giving, farmer, Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for MC Nick in the place to be.
What's going on, man? How we doing?
Oh, we got some DFS to get to. We got a classic Nor'easterner tonight. And I know you're just delighted to watch this game. I am excited to watch these Army Black Knights, which I think, a year ago, if this game was played, I think Army actually has a shot to go to the CFP. So the game is more interesting than it would have been, say, a year ago. What do you make of this Nor'easterner tonight? Because I know we got Friday, Saturday lineups, but we have a Nor'easterner, classic Nor'easterner, and I know you hate the Northeast.
I hate FBS Northeast football. Northeast football should only be FCS, but it's a decent game because Temple has at least shown signs of life the last couple weeks. So it could be close. It could be competitive. Look, is it a great Thursday night for college football? No, it is not. And Friday night's a little bit better, but we're still a week or two away from having so many more football games on during the week. And that's so much better, especially for DFS. Because if we only got, two games to pick from, or tonight, only one game, just 2 teams to pick from, options are limited. But look, a month ago when there wasn't any football, we would have killed for this game. So let's go.
Yeah. And I happen to like my Thursday slate. I don't know about you, buddy, but I feel pretty good about my Thursday slate.
I don't feel great about it. And let me pull it up here. If we're going to just dive right on it. Well, first off, we got to talk about last week a little bit. I kicked your ass in the side bet.
Yeah.
It was 4-0, but you brought to my attention that Hudson, the Wazoo receiver, left the game early with an injury, so we won't count that one. So 3-0. Haynes King beat out Taylor Green. Cam Ward beat out Shadur Sanders, and Sean Atkins beat out Lewis Bond. The week before, you went 3-0 against me. I returned the favor, go 3-0 against you, which means I believe you are down 5 bottles of bourbon to myself.
Look,
currently.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that if you're making game-winning touchdowns, that should count more.
Come on.
Lewis Bond,
Come on.
game-winning
touchdown.
and another classic Nor'easterner.
Look, it's week 5. So far, you're down 5 bottles of bourbon. So basically, by the end of the season, you're gonna owe me about a case of Woodford. Okay.
Not a problem. We'll make it happen. I got a guy that works for them. My alcohol dealer knows a guy. Folks, look, before we dive into tonight's Nor'easterner, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And check this out. Doug Stanhope, hilarious comedian. Brendan Walsh, hilarious comedian. And our very own Sean Stacking the Money Green, hilarious comedian. Host the newest podcast on SGPN, Get to the Points, every Thursday before the game. Doug, Brendan, and Sean are going to give out their favorite plays and talk a ton of shit to each other. NFL plays. You got to check it out. Doug and Brendan are professional comics you may know from the Joe Rogan podcast and the Howard Stern show and Comedy Central. And trust me, I've hung out with them, had cocktails with them plenty of times, and and the mics weren't even on then. They're just talking tons of shit to one another. You don't know where the conversation's going. Last time, I think Michael Biehn was from Terminator was getting destroyed by Doug Stanhope. But it's just a lot of fun conversation as far as NFL picks, or maybe it was vice versa. Maybe it was Michael Biehn that was destroying Doug Stanhope. One of the two. We were having a lot of alcohol there, but you got to check it out. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check out Get to the Points. All right, we are back. And
does that start today, or did it start last week?
That show?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually did it last year on a different platform, but
okay.
But it is it's Doug Stanhope's hilarious. Brendan Walsh hilarious. You should check it out. That show will be dropping today. But yeah, I mean, they're just hilarious. Like coming and hanging out in the studio and just talking about anything.
I'm familiar with Stanhope. I'm not familiar with Walsh, so I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, you got to check it out. And you're not familiar with Stacking the Money, are you? Huh?
A little bit.
So this lineup, how do you feel about this? I'm taking a big gamble on one thing here.
I don't feel great about it because Army is favored by 13 points or so, and I took Army to cover that, which means, I mean, if you're looking at implied totals, Vegas basically has Army winning 30-17 or right around there, and I only got 2 guys from Army in my lineup, so that's my biggest critique. But when I go ahead and get chalky with my captain and go with Bryson Daily for 18K, that's the ramifications. That means I can't fit some of those other mid-price guys in there.
I mean, how do you not roster up Bryson Daily out of Abernathy, Texas? This guy's a straight dog. I mean, you see what he did last week?
Damn near 50 fantasy points. Yeah, I did.
I mean, super efficient too. 6 of 9 passing. 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also 23 rushes, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns. Woo! Against your Rice Owls, buddy. Dominating performance for the senior there.
So were you playing the music because he's also your captain or on your roster?
Captain.
Okay.
All right.
It's tough. Usually I don't go with the most expensive guy as my captain, but here I just thought he was the most solid, especially when we don't really know what Temple is going to do at quarterback. We don't know if it's going to be Evan Simon, who's been lighting it up, or is Forrest Brock back. And even if Brock is back, do you play him?
No, there's no way.
You can't, right?
No way. He's got 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions. They've lost both games. Meanwhile, with Evan Simon, they almost knock off Coastal. And he's got 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. What did he do last week? He lit up and got the win against Utah State, which included he had like a 91-yard touchdown pass.
Well, he had five total passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown also. So now that we're talking about Simon, I'm assuming that they will play him, and he's also on my roster.
Agreed. Evan Simon out of Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. Former Rutgers Scarlet Knight. Now, Rutgers has only thrown 5 touchdown passes over the past 6 years, I feel like. So nice job there, Temple.
Now, here's my problem. So we're 2 for 2. Here's my problem with basically anybody on Army not name Bryson Daily. Whether you look at it and it's Kanye Udo, or you look at it and Noah Short, some games they get like 15 carries and some games they get like 5 carries. It's hard to pinpoint if they're going to which tailback or which fullback they're going to use, because basically if you look at the triple option, the defense takes one away. So we don't know which one Temple's going to try to take away. And therefore, I didn't roster anybody else that's expensive for Army. The only other guy I rostered, and he's only $1,000, a pure punt play, was running back Samari Howard for the Black Knights.
Wow. I did not have that. So wait, you didn't do Short or Udo?
Nope.
Or Uday, whatever. I went with Udo. Now, I went back and forth, actually. Noah Short, Patty C's favorite player in college football. Actually, I think I'm going to go Short, actually. I'm going to switch. Because the main difference here is Short is more of a home run threat. He's averaging 13.3 yards a carry.
And he only got 1 carry last week. That's my point.
Maybe I should go Udo.
I mean, he caught 2 balls for 47 yards and a touchdown. But you just never know who they're going to go with. Kanye Udo starts the season 15 carries, 14 carries. Last week, he got 0 carries against Coastal. I'm sorry. Army didn't play Coastal. He got, 8 carries last week against Rice. So I didn't trust either one of these guys. And that's why I went with a Temple running back instead. Antoine Littleton, he's been there for a few years. He's going to probably get at least 15 touches. So he's more consistent than the Army guys.
I'm going to go Udo, actually. I switched back. I just think he's their bread and butter. The problem with Little John there, or Littleton. Yeah. Talking Robin Hood here, is he just hasn't really produced. He's averaging like 3 yards a carry. You know what I mean? Like, Army has a good rush defense.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Littleton against Coastal had 74 yards, but were you impressed with his 8 yards against Oklahoma, his 22 yards against Navy, or his 42 yards against Utah State?
Well, I mean, he did catch some balls in those games as well. So I just know he's going to get more touches. I know that he's really the only running back of note for Temple. So yeah, I don't mind the play going with one of Army's guys because their ceiling's higher, but their floor is lower too.
Yeah, so I went with Udo. Okay. Well, I did have a crazy play though.
Okay.
And this could change by the time kickoff happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks ago, Tyrell Robinson was playing or practicing.
Yeah.
And they sat him out last week.
You think he's back?
Well, he's only $1,000. He's listed as questionable, but he's had 2 weeks now of practice. This guy is a very, very exciting player. Now, obviously, he was coming off the injury last season, so he didn't actually light up the stat sheet last year. But the year prior, he was a beast for them. He had a torn ACL.
And let's be honest, you're probably not going to hear before game time if he plays or not.
Yeah, Monken, the Army doesn't release that stuff.
Right.
Taking a shot though for $1,000. He, like I said, why would you be practicing for 2 straight weeks now?
But do you bring him back on a short week, or do you give him that like extra couple days and bring it back next week? I mean, the one running back I rostered for Army that was also exactly 1,000. I think I like your gamble better. I think I want to switch because what if Tyrell Robinson does play?
Yeah, I mean he's a baller. If he plays, he
Right.
is one of the best players in the
And if he doesn't play, the other running back for Army probably would have got me like 2 or 3 points or something. So I like it. I'm going to switch over.
Let's go. So that leaves me with just 2 players, and I'll tell you, those are Temple Owls for me.
Same here.
There's a guy who played at Colorado State, who I follow Colorado State very closely because they play the Buffs so often.
Play the music.
Dante Wright, who is just an absolute beast. So he has 26 catches on the season. The closest to that is Anthony Littleton with 7.
Antoine.
Yeah. Jeez.
First you screw up his last name, now you screw up his first name.
Yeah. So Andy Littleton has 7 catches. Actually, no, there's Antonio Jones has 9 for 72. The point is, though, is that Dante Wright has 352 yards receiving, and that doesn't include the 14 yards he has rushing. This is a no-brainer there.
He's a baller, especially if you take Simon, the quarterback, you stack him with Wright, and you'll spend up that 18.2K if you want to roster them both. So I did the same thing. I want to take a stab at who your last person is going to be too. Does he play the kicking position?
No,
you didn't. But there goes your boy Maddox Trujillo, huh?
He is an assassin, though. Longest kick in the history of Lincoln Financial.
Well, that's who I rostered.
That's a smart play. I like that play. But I have Temple being down. They're going to need to pass the ball. And James Della Pesca out of Rivervale, New Jersey is a guy for what? 2,400? Okay. How much is your kicker?
4,400.
I don't have that money. But how about James? Look, he didn't play the first 2 weeks, right? The past 2 weeks, 3 for 42. And last week, 4 for 42.
Wow. Okay. Not bad.
All right. Let's get the ball to Della Pesca.
But right. I think the side bet here is Andy Littlejohn versus who'd you go with? Udoa?
Yeah, Udoa. Udo. I mean, is that Udo or Udoa?
I don't know.
While we're fucking up names, let's see if we can just go for the clean sweep.
He is $1,400 more expensive, but you know what? I'm in a charity mood here. I'm in a giving mood. I'm up so much bourbon on you already. I'll say let's do that. We'll go Littleton. Now you got me screwing it up. Jeez. Versus Udo.
Yeah, I'll send Patty C a bottle of vodka after this. All right, look, folks. Want to tell you that the college football experience, DFS and Underdog Picks episodes brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em is always adding to their awesome menu. They now have first touchdown projections. There are a ton of ways to win with NFL, college football, CFL, MLB, MMA, and much more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boost and no sweat entries. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries as well. NC Nick, Kyron Drones, higher or lower a half an interception?
I think we might have talked about this in one of the pods we did this week. Give me the higher over a half interception all day long.
I should have said this at 2.5. So load that higher. And how, that's what's great about Underdog. You can find edges like this that really aren't out there anywhere else. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, look, while we're here, let's just jump into an Underdog draft right now. Right?
Let's do it.
This is
do you the $5 Battle Royale.
Yeah, let's do it. Ready to jump in?
I'm ready when you are.
All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Enter.
Are we in the same one?
Remember, folks, this is just, I got two more to start. I think so.
Two more to start. Perfect. I think we're the same one. And look, on the app, you could just, it's just what's so great. You could do this and then you just battle, a group of other people playing some best ball action.
Looking at the games here, I mean, the UCF Colorado game, really high over under. Same with the Kansas TCU game. We got a couple Big 12 shootouts here.
Yeah. Yeah. Look to roster a bunch of those guys, obviously.
Shedeur Sanders is pretty far down here. He's a third quarterback. I know you probably got your eyes on him.
Oh, yeah. Especially against the 96th ranked pass defense.
Right?
It makes a lot of sense.
Let's look at the running backs here. I think RJ Harvey might be in store for a big game. Look how far down Ollie Gordon is, but I mean, it makes sense given the matchup and his lack of production so far.
Yeah.
One more to start, so I say we just hang out here. They should be starting any minute here now.
Let's go. But this is what's great also about Underdog Fantasy. Promo code TCE SGPN is hopping over there. Not only can you get these fantastic edges like this is two separate things we're doing here. You have the drones higher than a half interception. There's you can find the stats for all these different guys. It's really great. Get on over there, and then you have options like this where you can play fantasy. It's look. I know they're our sponsor, but I'm saying I really think this is top notch, grade A stuff that they're doing there.
You know what I love too is the app. The app is very user friendly. It's so easy to navigate. For me, the quality of the app is very important. That's why some DFS platforms, I don't know if I should name them or not, but fuck it. FanDuel, can't stand it.
Yeah.
The app sucks.
Yeah.
This app is perfect, and there's so many ways to get down on some action. Why not?
Get down on it. Let's go. One more to start.
Who's brave enough to enter the Week 5 Battle Royale? Colby, if you have the number one pick, who do you go with here?
Probably Shedeur Sanders.
Ooh. Yeah.
I would say him or I want action in those games. Like KJ Jefferson's also appealing, but he's not as accurate. But rushing wise, he could have a monster game.
I was a little bit worried about the weather, but I think all the bad weather is going to be gone out of Florida by the time Saturday comes around. We got that hurricane coming up the coast, hitting Florida today. I think we should be okay for Saturday.
Yeah, and you got Josh Hoover from TCU could have a big game. How about you?
I'm surprised Shedeur Sanders is that far down. I know, so he's the third-ranked quarterback in here. KJ Jefferson ranked number 1. Obviously the matchup, it's going to be a lot of points in that game. But he hasn't looked that great this year so far.
I agree. I thought he'd look better.
Yeah. Jackson Dart's ranked number 2 right now. Not necessarily a plus matchup this week playing Kentucky. Probably definitely the toughest team Ole Miss has played so far. He'll get his. He'll have a fine game, but maybe not. He might not kill it. Manning.
That one's intriguing because Mississippi State's horrible. That's not a bad play.
I heard Ewers was practicing, but I think they got
it. If he's smart, he better play because the more that this happens,
right.
He's going to end up starting at Houston next year if Ewers ends up doing this. But
one other situation I don't know about is what's going on with the Texas A&M quarterbacks.
I heard Wegman's getting the start.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but I want no parts of that then.
Me too. I thought the same thing. I go, why? The other guy looks better.
We're waiting on one more. Oh, draft. There we go. It's filled up, so now it'll start in a minute. Who's your top running back? I mean, it's got to be RJ Harvey, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I do think Colorado's defense is vastly improved, but still, the way Miles not commits to the run, the pep in his step, he's a baller. I'm a big fan. So, yeah. All right. So
I'm at pick 4. You're at pick 6.
Yeah. So none of these guys will be available for me. But something to note there. Did we lose NC Nick? We may have lost NC Nick, but or maybe you lost me. I don't know. Anyway, the draft is starting in 14 seconds. Get on over there. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. Let's see what happens here. And don't worry, we still have the DFS slates for Friday, Saturday morning, and Saturday night that we will give away on the college football experience. RJ Harvey goes number 1. He is the top pick in the draft. There we go.
I got kicked off the internet for a second there. I'm not sure what's going on.
You're getting that hurricane weather. Maybe you got a classic nor'easter coming there.
No rain today. It's coming tomorrow.
You see, Harvey was the first pick of the whole draft.
Makes sense. He's absolutely crushing it so far.
I'll tell you one that I like.
And then Travis Hunter goes. Okay, that makes some sense. I'm going to take Neal if he's there for me, but I got a feeling. Well, you know what? Jaden Blue finally had a really good game last week too. I might go with one of these running backs. Try to catch a quarterback in the next round. I think that's my plan.
Let's see.
Oh, Blue goes before Neal. All right. Hey, Mr. Consistency, all he's going to do, he's ran for 100 yards in 4 straight games. Make it 5. Give me Devin Neal.
Wow. Okay. Let's see what can happen here. 1 pick away from me.
I think you're safe with Sanders.
Wow. And yeah, let's go. I will take Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to back that up with a play that I think is underrated for this week. Taking Dante Dowdell against a horrible Purdue run defense.
One of the worst run defenses in the nation. I just hate how they split up carries there. But I mean, Dowdell's their RB1. But who's it? Johnson? Is that who else gets the carries?
Yeah, I believe so, right? Yeah. So yeah, NC Nick, what are you looking to do on this next pick here?
You know, I could take KJ Jefferson. I could take an Ollie Gordon. You know who's been crushing it? He has just as good of numbers as your Travis Hunter. Ty Felton from Maryland. He is absolutely killing it so far.
And he just got taken. Was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
Well, he's not doing the defensive numbers that Travis Hunter's doing, but yeah.
Well, as far as fantasy, I don't give a shit about defensive numbers. If anything, get a rest, catch your breath, and just play offense.
There we go. All right, let's see what we got going here. A couple picks away from Dundee being back on the clock.
At quarterback, way down is Josh Hoover, who I might roll with here if he gets back to me. Who would you go with?
Jefferson just selected. Hoover makes a lot of sense because
Hoover or Riley Leonard.
Oh no, Hoover.
Yeah, I think I'm targeting some of these Big 12 matchups.
I don't even think that's a debate. Riley Leonard's put up shitty stats, and I actually think Louisville can pose some problems defensively for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next, I'm looking to jump in on some wideouts. Probably Zachariah Branch could be one. Do we go Deion Burks, Brennan Presley? I don't know. The wide receiver position is kind of up in the air. Hudson just got taken. The kid from UCF.
Oh, Hoover just got taken right before me.
Wow, brutal.
All right, I'll switch it up and go DJ Giddens, the running back for K-State here. So
Oklahoma State's defense looks horrible. That's a good pick, I think. All right. Yeah. Look, it goes over to me here. I am going to load up on the likes of Jimmy Horn Jr.
over LeJontay Wester.
Yes, back in his home state.
Oh, well, Wester's from there too, right?
Yeah, I mean the whole honestly, that's why Colorado plus the points I like.
Yeah,
it's like 30 players that are on that roster from Florida. And then it's me again. Actually, why don't we stack both?
Oh, there we go. Too bad you didn't get Shedeur. Oh no, did you?
I did.
Oh wow! So you're going all in on the Buffs. Okay.
Go all in. All right. Look,
all right.
I got.
All right.
Look out, just watch him go. Down to Buffalo. Oh no, it's a guy on a Buffalo.
You know who I want to go with here, and this guy, he's starting to get some more targets. He still is in need of a big game. Zachariah Branch.
I like that angle.
I still need a quarterback here. Who's left at
Really, in the final round, right?
2 more rounds. I need a quarterback and a tight end. I got Taylon Green out there. Could I go Arch Manning? That's such a gamble, though. And it's not like you can switch players out in this. Jalen Daniels, does he finally have a decent game? Should I go Miller Moss?
He is due, I feel like.
He just looks so bad.
I know. You get that NIL money, it starts changing. You lose your edge.
You think Taylor Green can bounce back even up against Elko?
No, I don't like that play. I don't like that play.
I think I might roll the dice on old Riley Leonard, actually. I mean, chances are he runs for 100 yards and a couple touchdowns, right?
I don't know about a couple touchdowns because that offense can't get.
Yeah, true.
But he could definitely. You had like a 60-yard run last week. He fumbled it, but I'm saying like it was still an impressive athletic play. All right, up in 4 picks. Avery Johnson. What you gotta do is you gotta make shots.
Yeah, I don't like the tight ends in this slate.
Yeah, I struggled with that too.
Ooh. You know who I still think's a baller is Mitchell Evans, even though he's been very quiet this season.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride Mitchell Evans because I don't think anybody's gonna take him.
Getting your
I will take Mitchell Evans here. I got my tight ends. I'm saving the quarterback spot for last. So these are your last 2 picks here. You need what? A tight end and either a running back or receiver. Well,
yeah.
Why don't you go Will Shepherd?
Just load all up. Well, he dropped a touchdown last week, so no. I'm gonna take if this drops to me. I don't want to tell. Okay. I'm going to take Ja'Cory Brooks. I understand Notre Dame's secondary is elite, but I trust the schemes that Jeff Brom can do to get his wideouts open. And then at the tight end spot, my only position left, give me a shot on Michael Trigg, the former 5-star for the Baylor Bears, as they host the BYU Cougars. And I am done with my draft.
You know what? Screw it. I think I'm going to go Arch Manning. Why rush Quinn Ewers back?
I think that's better. Yeah. 38-point favorites. You kidding me?
Yeah, Arch Manning.
Yeah. There you go.
Sign me up. Boom. Done. Locked and loaded.
Let's see what our potential is here. Booger's in the chat saying, "Where's Noah Bean Dick?"
No, it's Bean Flick, right?
Yeah.
That was a great line by somebody in the chat.
Shout out to Lane Gretzky. He says, "What's up, Dundee?" And NC Nick. Once again, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience. Get on over there, folks. Team Full, we're about to get our projections, talk a little shit, and then we'll jump into the Friday DFS slate, followed by the Saturday morning, and then the Saturday night. Once again, and why you should be checking us out is because not only do we have this show that we do every week, the DFS show, we have our preview and picks out for the entire week. And by the way, our projections just came out. Man, you're hurting, buddy, huh?
27.2. How's that possible?
I'm at 19.5.
I think that's a glitch in the system, man, or they don't have any projection for Arch or something. 27, that's impossible.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
I'm lower than that, dude.
Oh, this is a glitch here. Something's messed up with that. Oh, well. Let's see what happens. Dude, last week I was in the money for almost all of Saturday, and finally, in this underdog thing, like late Saturday, I fell out of the money. So coming at you this week.
Let's go. But as I was saying, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience. Get on over there. Like I said, we have the preview and picks already out. We have bracketology episode with me and Moneyline Mac projecting our 12-team college football playoffs each and every week. We got the Bombs Down Under dropping later today. Myself, CJ Sullivan, the bet detective, the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, going through talking about live dogs on the money line in college football. Don't forget the FCS college football experience, which will be out either late tonight or tomorrow morning. Working on that right now. We just, and college basketball experience, just dropped the Mountain West Conference preview. I will be at Mountain West Media Days in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks here. Ooh. So get on over there. Check it all out. youtube.com/thecollegeexperience.
There's rumors I will be appearing on the ACC basketball preview next Wednesday.
There we go. Get on over there. Let's have some fun. YouTube.com. And once the college basketball season goes live, every single night of the season, pretty much right now, we're pretty much going live every single night of the season. Conference realignment episode was out last night as well. So check it out, folks. College basketball experience, wherever you get your podcast, college football experience, all that good stuff. Look, before I jump into the Friday slate, I want to let the folks know also that the college football experience is brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency. You can get lightning fast payouts. I tell you, I like Rutgers minus the points Friday night. I know NC Nick, I think, is with me on this one. Support SGPN and get yourself access to another great book by signing up at BetUS. And this is what's great here. Use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. That's unbelievable. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. Build your own model or copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard or press, build a model for you, and Rhythm will adapt around that. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. Also has a slew of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. I like Army minus the points tonight. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, we are back. Friday slate. What'd you make of it, buddy?
I mean, both games are fun. I wish there was a third game maybe, but we got Virginia Tech and Miami. Miami is 17.5 point favorite with a total of 53.5. So Vegas tells us Miami's going to win like 37-17, something like that. Rutgers, Washington, Rutgers 2.5, a total of only 44.5, projected to be much lower scoring. And I did lean into Miami pretty heavily.
Yeah. I actually only rostered 3 out of the 4 teams playing.
I do not have any Hokies.
Me too.
I thought about it, but ultimately I didn't. My flex spot was really down to Tootin or one of the Washington guys, Coleman, the running back, or Boston, the receiver, and I didn't go Bashal Tootin.
Yeah, me too. That's another FCS guy. He's the best player in their team. These FCS players, really you're seeing with Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, like I said, this is why check out the FCS college football experience. Cam Scadaboo killing it at Arizona State. Obviously, Shluka was having success at UNLV before that disaster.
I can tell you tonight I rostered 2 former FCS guys, and one of them is Cam Ward.
There we go. I have Cam Ward as well.
You got to.
Virginia Tech looks like shit so far this season. He might be the best quarterback, the former incarnate word Cardinal there.
He's the only quarterback I rostered.
Nope, not me.
Did you go Will Rogers, State Park?
I went with the Greek pellet gun.
I thought about it.
Athan Kaliakmanis. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Close enough.
Kaliakmanis. Look, I'll say this about him and the Greek pellet gun. He wears the Emmitt Smith face mask, which drives me crazy. No quarterback should ever wear that. But
he's not even that much of an athlete either.
I know. It's just he's being a jackass, right? But I will say he is completing 9 yards of completion, 6 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. NC Nick, he has been way better than he was at Minnesota, and I think that's him reuniting with this offensive coordinator from the year prior. So at 6,000, I loaded up him.
Okay. I don't mind the play, and the price is right. You get, probably maybe the second best quarterback on the slate. I think it's questionable. It'll be interesting. I mean, for that price, there's your angle. But it'll be interesting what quarterback has the second most points on the slate. Do you think it will be the pellet gun?
I do. I do.
Well, then the price is definitely right. So I see why he did it. But no, I wasn't enamored with any other quarterback. So I figured I'd just spend up on Cam Ward and then go receivers and running backs.
So I only rostered 2 running backs.
I got 3. And the highest priced one does reside in the armpit of America, New Jersey. Kyle Monangai.
We got another classic Northeasterner. Well, sort of. You have Seattle. This is just a stupid game, but still, Monangai is a beast. One of the better running backs. Where would you put him on like the Big Ten running back? Obviously, you got the Ohio State, both their backs, and
a couple Michigan backs. You got a couple backs at Penn State that are pretty good. Who else am I not thinking of? I mean, he's top 5. He's top 5 in the Big Ten.
With USC. Yeah, I think he's right around there.
He's top 5. Big Ten.
Yeah, he's averaging 6.3 yards a rush. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season. I have him as well. You can't, on a 2-game slate, you got to roster he's the best guy on Rutgers' team. Yeah. All right. Well, your second running back, since you have more running backs than me.
So this was the super flex spot where I really didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to go with a Washington Husky, to go with a quarterback, to go with a Tootin on the Virginia Tech. I settled on Jonah Coleman, the Washington running back, because surprisingly enough, Rutgers' run defense is struggling. Rutgers' run defense, 90th in the nation. Not only did Virginia Tech have a pretty successful day on the ground against them, but Howard and Akron also ran for like $150, surprisingly, in blowouts.
Well, Rutgers had a couple guys go down. I know their best offensive player got out for the season right before the season started. Maybe that's the impact of that, but that is surprising. And Jonah Coleman was a beast at Arizona last year. I just worry about, how good is the Washington offensive line? Maybe it's a little bit better than I projected, but still not elite by any means, I don't think.
The other thing I like about him is he catches passes. He already has 12 catches for over 100 yards. So he's caught at least 2 balls in every game. And so sometimes for some decent yardage, like 40 yards, 30 yards. So he is probably the most consistent of those guys in that range. You could argue Tootin, but there's a scenario where that Virginia Tech running game doesn't do much against Miami. Miami could be up big where Virginia Tech is forced to pass the ball. So I went Coleman. Don't love it, but that's who I ended up with.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's all right. I mean, we'll see. You made a good point about the Rutgers defense, from a run defense standpoint. So maybe you can have some success there. My second running back is bargain shopping, 3,700. No relation to Rick Lyle, the former Jets defensive end, but Jordan Lyle, freshman. Look, everyone's talking Damian Martinez. They got Damian Martinez. They got Mark Fletcher and everything, but Jordan Lyle averaging 8 yards a rush, 29. He's their team's leading rusher by about 43 yards, with 11 less carries than Damian Martinez. So at 3,700, there's a lot of value here. He had a 91-yard touchdown as well this season. He's a home run threat, and then also, he's a guy that I think, just being a true freshman, they're going to get him the ball more and more because he is shown that he is a big play talent on this team. So Jordan Lyle, did you roster him?
I did not. That's an interesting angle because there's about 4 Miami running backs who have more or around the same carries. I went Martinez. Look, I like you. You're making a gamble, and Lyle's not going to be heavily owned because the most rushes he's got in a decent game has only been 6 carries. I think his biggest game with carries was that Ball State blowout. So there's a couple running backs in front of him, but Miami is going to spread out the ball. If he can break a big one, then you're in good shape. But
also a 20-point spread.
Sure. If they're blowing them out, then there's your window for some carries. But I'm going to go Martinez because I know he's going to get carries in the first half. We'll see. Maybe the game is closer than expected. I think we both took Miami laying the points, but didn't feel great about it. So I like your angle. It's an interesting play. It's kind of boom or bust, but I went with the more rock solid approach with Martinez.
Oh, more rock solid, my ass. Let's go. All right.
It wasn't like Martinez was that expensive. He's only 5,700. Come on.
I'm saving $2,000 and I only have 400 left over. So I had to do this because I loaded up at the receiver spot. And that started with me going with the top dog there, Xavier Restrepo. who has he's their top wideout from a reception standpoint. He's also a top wideout from a yard standpoint and touchdown standpoint out of Coconut Creek, Florida. The senior, Xavier Restrepo. Did you roster him?
Yes, I sure did. Lock it up. Play the music.
Let's go. And I stacked him, buddy. With
Double stack?
double stack. Sam Brown, NFL scouts were raving about this kid out of Savannah, Georgia. Transfer from the Houston Cougars. And I do think, like, you know, he transferred in, so like the continuity wasn't there right away. But I just think it's a guy that is going to continue to flourish. Last week, he had 2 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. The week before, 5 for 44. I just think that I actually believe the NFL scouts have him actually as their top guy on this whole roster. So give me Sam Brown to continue to develop with Cam Ward's and this Hurricane offense.
That's funny because I have a double stack with Miami receivers. My other Miami receivers $300 more expensive, so I think this is a nice little side bet. I'm going to go Isaiah Horton, who is coming off a game where he went 8 for 108 and a touchdown. I've also already made some ladder bets on Horton's over receiving yards this coming week. Did you have extra money? Did you just prefer Brown over Horton?
Well, I can't help but, like, when I hear NFL scouts say that Sam Brown's a first-round draft pick,
yeah,
I just can't help but say, like, wait, they don't have Restrepo or Horton projected as a first-round draft pick. How are they deducing this?
Right.
So I was just waiting for that explosive game.
Well, bring it on. I mean, look, it's on the season, Horton has 5 more catches, 100 more yards. I guess that's why he's a few $100 more expensive, but I think Horton's their number 2 receiver right now. So I will make that side bet with you if you want some action.
Let's go. Let's go to the Battle of Bourbon. I have 2 more wideouts.
As do I.
I will take you back to Piscataway and go. Look, this might be the first time in the history of DFS that I've loaded up at Rutgers wideout.
I have 2 Rutgers receivers also. I can't believe it. They're so dirt cheap, though.
I know. Demir Miller, their leading receiver, 13 catches, 212 yards, and a touchdown. Now, I did consider rostering another one as well, but that was my play, is Demir Miller.
So he is my second former FCS player, him coming over from Monmouth last year.
Let's go. Let's go. Teams leading wideout from a reception standpoint. Teams leading wideout from a yard standpoint. These FCS players, man, I'm telling you, diamonds in the rough. And I know Bruce Feldman was talking about this recently, that he was talking to coaches, and they actually prefer FCS players because they have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah,
they come in super focused,
right?
And they're just like, hey, I'm better than these guys. Give me that opportunity. You're kind of seeing it across the landscape of college football right now.
And then, give them access to a top-notch weight room, nutritionist, a good strength coach, stuff that they've never gotten at Monmouth or whatever. So they still have exactly hookers and blow, but no, I like the play here. I mean, you're in a wide receiver 1. Like, I get it. The Rutgers passing attack is not all that dynamic, but you're getting a wide receiver 1 for $4,000. And I also rostered the second wide receiver, Ian Strong, for even less money, $3,400. He's coming off 4 for 110 yards against Virginia Tech.
I mean, he's averaging 21 yards a catch. That caught my eye, and I was like, good God.
Who else in that range are you going to get that has that potential? I didn't see him out there. There was a couple of really cheap Virginia Tech receivers I considered, but ultimately I went with 2 Rutgers receivers and didn't even roster the quarterback, which is a little different.
My final guy on my roster, same game. I'm going over there, and look, I was hoping to get. Wait, do I have enough money? Let me see, because let me reassess this. Yeah, I have my pick now. Interesting. Do I go with Giles Jackson, who leads Washington in receiving from a reception standpoint and a yard standpoint, but he only has 1 touchdown? Or do I go with Denzel Boston, who is just 3 catches behind him and about 60 yards behind him, but he has 5 touchdowns. I think I have to go with Denzel Boston.
Jackson burned me last week. I rostered him. I think Boston is definitely the red zone threat. I think he's the better receiver. I think you have to go with more upside and go Boston.
Yeah, so give me Denzel Boston. I do expect Rutgers to win this game. Their pass defense is good, and I am concerned about how many points Washington can put up there. But if he has 5 touchdowns on the season already, I just think it's a play. You got to play the sophomore out of South Hill, Washington there. 7 for 121 last week and 2 scores.
Yeah.
If anything, you look at what he's done, against the good Power 5 programs. 7 for 121, 2 scores last week. The week prior, 8 for 58. So getting that many, receptions, 15 catches against Power 5 opponents. No wonder why against the other teams when they're blowing them out, they caught off the dogs and the stat sheet wasn't as well, or for Denzel wasn't as good. So yeah. Anyway, you got one more player, right?
No, that's it, man.
Okay. All right. Well, look, let's jump over to Saturday morning. I'm curious what you thought of this slate here.
Dude, I struggled. This slate kicked my ass. I kept on switching it. I probably went through like freaking 20 iterations of my roster because I just couldn't settle on one that I liked. I really struggled. This was the slate that gave me the most headache all season so far.
Really? I want to say mine might have been for this week. It might have been the Saturday night slate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I decided on again just one quarterback.
Wow.
I know. So I take it you have 2. Did you do the traditional 2-3-3?
I did go with the traditional here. And I went with Shedeur Sanders, who I just drafted in Underdog Fantasy. I really, call me crazy, and maybe I am crazy here. Maybe Colorado does get blown out because the energy of that place and Gus Malzahn, I think, is a good coach. But I don't think Deion Sanders is going to get embarrassed in his home state. Like he grew up like an hour from there. I heard, following Colorado closely of why they wanted to go to the Big 12. He wanted it to get into the Big 12 for 2 reasons: more access to Texas and more access to Florida with UCF there. You look at the roster, there's like 40 guys from Florida. So I don't think they want, I think like they're going to come in there with ready to play. And I think, maybe UCF, I mean, I still expect UCF, they should be favored. UCF should be favored. But I think the offense for the Buffs against the 96th ranked pass defense, it's a good spot for stats for Shedeur Sanders.
Okay. We've already talked about him. I think he is going to have a big game, but he's expensive, so he better come out with like 35 fantasy points or it's probably a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah. And that's fair. And yeah, I mean, look, this is a slate I had fun with because I did take some gambles. I'll say that. And maybe that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah. Because I mean, start with the quarterback. I mean, I struggled there. I thought Jackson Dart was too expensive. Sanders on the road at 9.4K, too much for me. I thought about KJ Jefferson, but he's only averaging 20 fantasy points a game and he's 9K. So all these top quarterbacks, I didn't feel great about. So I went pretty low down and I was considering a handful of guys. I settled on Miller Moss for 7.3K.
I had him initially in my lineup.
And look, he hasn't crushed it fantasy wise. He had a pretty good game against LSU. Didn't do a ton against Michigan. I mean, his numbers against Michigan weren't bad. He threw for 283. So I think we're going to see more of that. And at home against a pretty bad Wisconsin team, I think USC's offense might roll.
And a bad Wisconsin defense too.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm about to take a little bit of a gamble because I know he's not even averaging 20 fantasy points a game. So I know it's a bit of a gamble, but Miller Moss.
No, I originally had him in my lineup too. I just had to move around my money.
Yeah,
but, and he didn't make the cut. But I like that play. He was almost on my roster, and for me, I'm taking a hell of a gamble on a guy with his first ever road start.
Alex Orji?
Nope. Dylan Raiola.
Raiola. I thought about that too. Yeah.
You just look at what Purdue's done against Power 5. I mean, Oregon State. There's another FCS guy, Giovanni McCoy, their quarterback, comes in, and Oregon State stuck it to Purdue by a 17-point win. But I think one of the bigger things that I made note of was just the fact that Oregon State had like 500 yards of offense or so, just beneath that. But Oregon State is a team full of transfers. I just think Purdue might be Mississippi State bad.
Yeah.
And I just think they're going to eat. I think Nebraska's going to. There's a reason why I bet Nebraska minus 9, I think it was.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Purdue's been really bad against the run, and unfortunately, Raiola's not going to run the ball at all. I mean, him and Moss are kind of in the same boat there, where you're not going to get anything with their legs. But I think his price and that matchup, I think it's a good play. At different points, he was in my lineup too, but didn't make the cut.
I mean, this guy threw for 297 against Illinois, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. That interception shouldn't have been an interception either. That was like a should have been a touchdown. So
the receiver didn't turn around or didn't like. Was it just like kind of miscommunication?
No, it was it landed in his hands in the end zone, and the corner grabbed it.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different game. I know the play you're talking about. I gotcha.
So I think he'll light it up against this. This
okay. All right. Well, again, I only had one quarterback. I only had 2 running backs. So I'm splitting them out 5 wide. I got 5 receivers here, but the running backs I rostered are expensive. I think you do have to have pieces of the Colorado UCF game because it is one of the highest over-unders on Saturday. So, and there's a reason why he was just the first pick in that underdog draft. I will go RJ Harvey here, who so far his fantasy points.
Yeah. I mean, I roster him as well. Continue.
31, 39, 44. He is absolutely crushing it. At home, the matchup is right. RJ Harvey should go off.
Yeah. Love that spot. Zach in the chat asking about second half lines. I don't know why that is the case, Zach, but appreciate you tuning in. Yeah. Wait, you have 3 running backs or 2? You said
just 2.
Ooh. Well, you heard me in Underdog Fantasy. I'm all over fading Purdue. Dante Dowdell at the running back spot at 5,600. Bargain shopping. Tell me you roster this guy.
Again, I thought about it. He was in my lineup at times. I think I rostered him last Friday night. He had a decent game, but I don't think I'm pretty sure he didn't score a touchdown, so his game was somewhat limited. He's a solid running back, but Nebraska is going to feed a couple different guys carry, so I did not roster him even in a plus matchup. I went with another guy I drafted in the underdog draft, Devin Neal for 6.6K. I definitely wanted to target those 2 games, the Colorado, UCF, TCU, Kansas.
Yeah, I didn't have that money to throw out there, but Devin Neal's a stud.
We saw what Brashard Smith did to TCU last week.
Yeah. So my final running back then, and I was surprised you didn't roster this guy. At 4,800, Demi Sumo Carmbaye.
The old NC State transfer, huh?
Buddy, he is by far the bell cow of this Kentucky offense. 59 carries. The closest to that at the running back spot is 19. So he's 40 carries more than the next running back. 274 yards, 3 touchdowns on the season, and also he is their 3rd leading wideout. And I don't think Ole Miss is a good defensive team. I know the stats tell you right now they are. I want to see it. I'm on Kentucky in the points. I think this is going to be a game. And getting him at 4,800, I think, is a bargain play here.
I just don't really trust that Kentucky offense on the road. So while I don't mind the play, I wasn't really even looking at anybody on Kentucky, to be honest with you.
Just flushing the toilet on the Wildcats.
Pretty much. But I think they're going to cover too, though. So if they do, they're probably going to score in the 20s.
I just remember that game a couple years ago at Ole Miss, and I want to say Chris Rodriguez had a huge game.
Yeah.
But wideout wise, who's your top wideout?
I got a bunch of them. My top wideout, I told you he's been putting up numbers like crazy. Ty Felton, Maryland. I mean, dude, 14 for 157 and a touchdown last week.
Yeah,
pretty good. His worst game so far was 9 for 117 and a touchdown against UVA. So like you can take Travis Hunter for $2,000 more expensive, and they average about the same amount of fantasy points.
And you don't get points for interceptions.
No, you don't. So 7.7K, I'll take him.
Yeah, it's a good play. I didn't have that type of money. This is where I went bargain shopping.
Yeah.
And look, you heard me on the on the Underdog Fantasy Draft, go for Jimmy Horn. He's too expensive. I couldn't afford him. But it's weird. On Underdog Fantasy, LeJohntay Wester was ranked way higher than Jimmy Horn. On DFS, LeJohntay Wester is at 5,900. So I will roster LeJohntay Wester at 5,900.
I like it. Good play at 5,900. But I had more money to spend on my second guy. Have you seen what Jack Beck is doing for TCU?
Oh, did I roster him last week?
He's crushing it, man. Last week, 8 for 166, 2 touchdowns. Year before that against USF, 9 for 200 and a touchdown. This guy's freaking Steve Largent or something all of a sudden. I'm targeting that game. So if I got the running back on Kansas, my bring back will be the receiver in the passing attack for TCU, Jack Beck.
Let's go. I like that play. I didn't have enough money for him, but he's a dog. But I will stay in that game for you. We think there's going to be a ton of offense in that game. And if I can't get Jack Beck, now I want Savion Williams. I don't have the money for Savion Williams. So I'm going to go to a guy that I like. They have so many damn weapons. That's the only scary part is because they got McAllister, the Boise State transfer, but also John Paul Richardson, the Oklahoma State transfer. He's kind of their possession guy. He has 0 touchdowns on the season, but he's their possession guy in a way. So at John Paul Richardson, it's only 4,200. This is a guy that I think is a pretty damn good player, over the past few years. Now, if you look at his game log, it's interesting because he has been a little bit all over the place. Against Stanford, though, in game 1, 6 for 107, and you thought, okay. Then against the fucking Long Island Sharks, he barely plays, 2 for 25. And then against UCF, 5 for 46. But then last week, just 3 for 14. I just think he's due for another big game. And if you watch him, I think he's one of their better wideouts. So at 4,200, give me John Paul Richardson out of Missouri City, Texas.
The other thing I worry about him, I think Eric McAllister might be coming on. Eric McAllister is a transfer from Boise who I was high on. Started the season as like their number 3 or number 4. Last week, he went 6 for 114 and a touchdown. It's possible that he might be cutting into the targets that Richardson is going to get. That's just my assumption or maybe my guess. I don't necessarily have anything to back that up. I think this game here will tell. But I think McAllister was a few $100s more expensive, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford those guys.
Makes sense. Well, I still got a bunch of receivers to go, and it's again in the underdog draft. I will take Zachariah Branch here for 5K. Another guy I've been high on. He's another quiet start to the season. Last week against Michigan, 6 for 98. Maybe this week here will be really his coming out party. That's what I'm expecting because the talent is there.
What was this price?
5K, even.
You want to do a little battle?
What? Branch versus who?
Same game. Yeah. Will Pauling, the wideout out of the Dairy Raid offense for Wisconsin. Now, obviously, Tyler Van Dyke is out for the season. Braden Locke, the Mississippi State transfer, is going to be the guy. But Will Pauling leads Wisconsin in receiving by 11 receptions to 19 receptions, 191 yards, 1 touchdown. And one thing that stood out to me in that Alabama game was how many missed passes Locke threw to Pauling, where Pauling was open against Alabama's corners. He's out of Chicago, Illinois, and you look at what he's done game log wise. If they can use that bye week and just focus on timing, he had 6 for 60 against Western Michigan. Okay, the FCS opponent just 4 for 48, but against Bama, 9 for 83 and a touchdown. And what was crazy was I thought he could have had another 2 touchdowns. They were just a couple yards off on a couple throws where he was open. So give me Will Pauling in that same game to outdo Zachariah Branch.
Pauling was a beast last year. Kind of quiet start to this year, but he has talent too. Sign us up. That's a good side bet. I just like USC's offense more than Wisconsin's, but the price one was right. I mean, if you look at Pauling, let me bring him up. I think week 1, he was one of the most expensive receivers on the slate because they were assuming that he was going to put up the same numbers. Don't have it here. So anyway, I like the play, but give me with the team who's favored by. How much are they favored by now? 17 or something? 14, 15, something like that?
15, I think, right? 15.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I still got 2 receivers to go. Now we're starting to get bottom of the barrel here, but I do like Louisville's passing attack, and I like their big play threat, Chris Bell. he's not he's not a possession receiver. He's not going to catch you 8-9 balls. But what he's going to do is go like last week, 2 for 82 and a touchdown. Game before that, 3 for 61 and a touchdown. The matchup isn't great, but for 3.8K, I want to roll the dice on a potential home run threat, and that is Chris Bell.
Let's go. I like it. I almost had I drafted Ja'Cory Brooks in the other one, so yeah, let's go. Let's go to Saturday night though.
Oh, hold on, I still got one more guy.
Oh, whoa! I'm sorry.
I gotta tell you, I got receivers coming out of my freaking ears here. Monterey Baldwin. If you weren't familiar with him, he's the one that had that diving touchdown catch last week. Another guy who kind of like Will Pauling. He was Baylor's leading receiver last year. He had, I think, 3 games over 100 yards last year. To begin this season, he was very quiet, struggling with the transfer quarterbacks getting on the same page. Last week against Colorado, finally he caught that touchdown. He only went 3 for 36 and a touchdown, but his track record says this guy can be an explosive playmaker. It was a hell of a catch. It was a hell of a touchdown. So I like taking a chance at only 3.5K on Monterey Baldwin.
Bargain shopping, getting over there. Bargain shopping. I like it. I'm gonna kick your ass though. All right, if I'm being serious, I'm just gonna
bring it on. I like this night slate here.
And we invite you to come play, by the way. We'll tweet it out at TCE on SGPN and NC Nick's Twitter account at NC__NICK.
To answer Steven in the chat, Bama or Georgia? Well, Tuesday night we released our pick show, and you should go back and listen to that. But Colby and I were both on Georgia.
Yeah.
I think we triple locked Georgia, matter of fact.
I think we did. Saturday night slate. Well, it stood out to me as a couple legends were on the slate. One specifically that is a fantasy god right now.
You better draft him, right?
Yeah, and I'm referring to star running back for the South Alabama Jaguars, Fluff Bothwell.
I find it hilarious that LSU played Guggenheim a couple of weeks ago, and now they get Bothwell. I mean, they're playing all of our guys.
40 yards to Colin Guggenheim. So do I think it makes sense to draft Fluff Bothwell? And then you just saw Harold Perkins is out for the season. They're one of the best defensive players. I loaded up on him. Now, I know I'm a little ahead of myself here, but
we'll play the music because come on, we got to take Fluff Bothwell.
Yeah, that's our guy getting it done. We saw Colin Guggenheim's success. Why can't Fluff Bothwell be that guy?
I told you guys before the app game to take Fluff Bothwell 2 touchdowns plus 1,000, and it hit. I'm going to quickly pull up to see if I can make that same bet against LSU. Do you think DK is offering it? That is the question.
Oh, that's a good question. Because
let me scroll down here and see if they're offering it. Because against LSU, you would think the odds would be, even better.
Yeah. That would be a nice play. That would be a nice play if they're offering.
Let's see if they got the touchdowns out yet. They don't have rushing touchdowns out yet. Okay, so maybe look back. They got rushing yardage. Let's see if they got anything on Fluff rushing yards. No, they're only playing the LSU guy. So not offered any just yet.
Intimidated of Fluff.
They're scared. They're running scared. The books are running scared.
How many quarterbacks did you roster?
I went with 2 here. Back to the normal approach where I got 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 receivers.
All right, I went with the same approach. Or no. Oh yeah, I did 3 running backs. Okay. My top price quarterback is, you could find me in the club, Cade Klubnik against Stanford's defense. Actually played very well last week, but I don't think it's a little different going to that filthy Carrier Dome or going to Death Valley there. So give me Cade Klubnik with that Garrett Riley offense there at 8,200.
Play the music, man.
We're on the same team, aren't we? What was your logic there?
Look, I mean, the Clemson offense was stalled out big time against Georgia, but in the other 2 games against App and NC State, they put up 59 and 66 points. I don't know if they're not going to have that kind of output in this game. Stanford did play pretty decent against Syracuse, but this is now their second road game in a row, so that travel is going to get rough on them. And Clemson's offense is doing things now, and Klubnik is doing it through the air with his legs. The price isn't too bad. I didn't love some of the quarterbacks on the slate, so I thought Klubnik made a ton of sense.
All right, I wonder if we have the same second quarterback here because I went to West Texas.
No.
And rostered Brendan Sorsby of the Cincinnati Bearcats at 7,100. He's from the great state of Texas. And have you looked at his stat sheet? He's kind of a beast.
He is.
He's already thrown for over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He also has 3 rushing touchdowns. So at 7,100, give me Brendan Sorsby.
I like it. I mean, you have to think in that matchup against Cincinnati, Texas Tech, there's going to be a lot of points. So, I can't argue with that, especially for the price. I was wondering if anybody was going to have the balls to go Gio Lopez, or is that just
I thought about it, man. I thought about it.
That's obviously that South Alabama's quarterback who absolutely killed it against App. I didn't take him either, though. I'm going to go Will Howard at 7.7K. I still think Ohio State rolls against Michigan State, but this time I think they'll actually have to pass into the fourth quarter. It's kind of hard to tell what he's done so far. Every game he's like 22, 23 fantasy points, which at 7.7K, that's still a decent outing. Maybe he has his best game of the season just because Ohio State has to pass the ball more against a solid opponent.
I smell a battle of bourbon because I have that money, and I'm going Sorsby.
Okay,
let's go. Back to the running back spot, though, while I'm talking about this game. I mentioned Fluff Bothwell. I also rostered Corey Kiner, the former LSU Tiger, who starting running back for Cincinnati, who has 64 rushes, 404 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 6.3 yards a rush. Also done a little bit in the air, catches and passes as well. Did you roster Corey Kiner?
I didn't. He was on my radar. I like the volume he gets. He's solid, but I went $600 more expensive because I'm going to lean into this Clemson offense, and that's my guy, Phil Maffa.
I got him too.
Okay.
I mean, he's killing it right now. 284 yards. The closest running back behind him is Jay Haynes with 90.
And all you need is for Stanford to keep it somewhat close because against App State, he only had 10 carries. Against NC State, he only got 7 carries because Clemson was up so much so quickly. So Stanford, just keep it within arm's reach. Let me get Phil Maffa to get like 15 or 18 carries, and he could have a really monster day because he's playing well and putting up good points with much less carries. So hopefully this game's closer and he gets more volume.
Agreed. All right. Well, now for wideouts. So wait,
hold on. I got one more running back here.
Yeah.
And I didn't think this matchup was great. It's not a bad matchup. But I think a couple Iowa State Cyclones are really underpriced here. And coming into the season, I know like season-long fantasy, Abu Sama III, the Iowa State running back, was heavily sought after. He hasn't done that much this year because talk about a lack of carries. 5 carries against North Dakota, 7 carries against Arkansas State. Well, against Iowa, he had 17 carries. So in a tight game, he's going to get the rock. And the Iowa, he only put up 58 yards, but Iowa's defense. So for 4.8K, I think Abu Sama, the Iowa State running back, finally has his big game of the season. Maybe even goes over 100 and a touchdown or something. So I think it's about time he produces like a lot of people thought to begin the season.
I like it. And look, while we're talking about this game, I'll talk about the fact that I thought Jalen Noel, their star wide,
the music, way underpriced.
Yeah. 5,700. This is a guy, their team's leading receiver by over 100 yards. He's a dog, too. If you've watched him through the years, very, very good wide out there.
You go 5 for 133 and a touchdown at Iowa, you're doing something. Again, he didn't have to play against Arkansas State, just 2 catches for 49 yards. 5.7K for this guy is way underpriced.
Yeah. And now I'll jump to another wideout then that I think is a must play for this week. At 6,600, he is very undervalued. Josh Kelly, the former Washington State Cougar, 31.
We're seeing eye to eye on a lot of these. Play the music.
Go! 31 catches, 376 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has more than double the next receiver at Texas Tech. Yeah. He's putting up Michael Crabtree numbers, basically. I only got one more player left.
Same here. He's my stack in the club, 4.8K. Tell me you don't have Antonio Williams.
4.8K?
Yeah.
Oh, I just missed out on that. I don't have that money.
I mean, even against Georgia, he went 6 for 76. That's the only game where you can really put weight into. So again, with a bunch of players in this slate, I think they haven't produced that great because they haven't needed to. But now we're getting into conference play. Now they need to step up, and a lot of these guys will step up, and they're very underpriced. Antonio Williams.
Yeah, I did not have that type of money, but I like the play. Yeah, for me, where the hell did I go? I was shopping right now to see if I could afford them. I ended up going with Old Faithful here. I just need a little bit of points, the way I look at it. But with not having a lot of money here, I went to your boy Joe Royer, the tight end for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Okay. Texas Tech not known for their defense. This guy, 14 catches, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. That's my final guy. That's my team.
Did Patty C get you drunk last night and convince you on taking the Cincinnati quarterback, running back, and tight end?
I look, mainly just has to do with I don't ever trust Texas Tech's defense. So
it's a good matchup. So you have one Red Raider and you got 4 players in one of the games which should have the most points. So I guess I'd like it a little bit more if you had 2 Texas Tech guys, 2 Cincinnati guys. But
was too expensive. I wanted.
Yeah, I hear you. You can't argue with that in this game. I hear you.
So who do you got left?
That's it, man. I'm done.
We are done. Catch me in a couple hours with the Bombs Down Under episode with CJ Sullivan around 4:00 Pacific. But make sure you give NC Nick a follow there. And like I said, we invite you. He's on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Subscribe. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Please get on over there. And if you can go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. That always helps us out. And yeah, like I said, FCS College Football Experience as well coming up, as well as Saturday morning, the pregame show. Let's go. And the reaction show Saturday night. Don't forget about the reaction show. And then go, if you're curious about any of those games, like the chat was, the week 5 preview and picks was out Tuesday night. It's available for you. Bracketology, if you're already like a college football nut like me and you're thinking about this 12-team playoff and how great it's going to be having 4 on-campus games, we got the Bracketology episode out. College Basketball Experience is hitting at full swing. Even the College Baseball Experience dropping episodes. Go check it all out, folks. YouTube.com/The College Experience as well. And those podcasts are available on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. Also, like I said, check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast with CJ Sullivan. It's always talking whatever is topical in sports gambling. Get to the Points, the new podcast with Doug Stanhope and Stacking the Money Green and Brendan Walsh. And don't forget about the CFL Gambling Podcast, the road to the 111th Grey Cup happening. Check out the CFL Gambling Podcast and the Stadium Heads Podcast, where we talk about the history of college football stadiums. Till next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with a cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting, 'cause the book's rewritten with a